Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below the video once it is rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Please do not swear if you join the panel. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Arwin and Ranty. How are you gentlemen both doing?
I'm doing great. Good afternoon.
Good
I'm still full
afternoon.
of this flu, chest infection, but that's life, isn't it?
Ranty's dying. We all need some sympathy from the chat.
For a little bit.
Nah, you'll get over it. Just mute when you're coughing when Riley's there.
What, for Riley's benefit or for everyone's?
Nah, Riley mostly, he seems to be complaining a lot about Ranty's coughing, telling him to mute.
That's true. Good show yesterday, wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting. I came in halfway, so I had no idea what had happened before that, but yeah, that was totally crazy.
42, what is it, 43 times I had to ask Rumpus if he had scientific proof of Earth curvature.
You eventually kind of lost count.
Yeah, I definitely got the numbers wrong at some stage along that road. But yeah, nonetheless, about 40 times I had to ask him, I'm sure, at least.
More than that. Like
maybe even
43, 45 times, something like that. You eventually just stopped counting. But I was just surprised that he used like the same type of evasion tactic at least 5 times of, yeah, I'm now gonna get the proof. Then you hear him typing. And then he starts wandering off into another deviation conversation, going back to ridiculing again. And then like eventually you're breaking off like, yeah, you're not answering the question. He did that 5 times. 5 times, pretty much the same pattern. It's just totally, it is maniacal.
Predictable.
I don't know how to explain that.
Predictable.
You could have saved us 1.5 hours by just saying no. No, I don't have it.
No, nothing I can present that proves Earth curvature can be validated and verified and would be considered scientific proof. So no, he didn't have anything. That's why it took 43 times of obfuscating that question to get to the point where he presented nothing but crap, basically.
I'm just wondering, like, what it must be like to be Rumpus, like, outside of the debates.
I'm sure he has a perfectly pleasant life. He's just a regular Joe.
Just,
you know, gets up, has a shower, has his breakfast, goes to work, does all the normal stuff you and I do.
I don't know.
He's come close to having a heart attack a few times, that's for sure.
Stressful
he gets
subject.
Sort of wound up over stuff, doesn't he?
He does. Well, that's fine.
I mean, I know he's passionate and all, but I mean, it's like you're listening to him, but you're envisaging his eyeballs popping out of his head and his veins coming out of his neck, forehead going bright red. You know, you can just imagine this is what he's like.
I just imagine him like a mechanism, and then when you start stuttering, it's like starting to crash. It's like cog wheels are starting to like break off or something. That thing. It just seems like a robot, like doing the same mechanism, the same machinations over and over again, same deviation strategy over and over again. It's just, I can't imagine having to live with that type of behavior. Just can't imagine it.
Sark's Cool says, Ranty had a cut of the profits this month. No, I'm still waiting for that, Nathan. I'll send
Checks
my
in the
invoice
post.
to you later.
Checks in the post, of course.
Perfect.
Got a lot of people to pay. Hello, Michael
Paul.
Fier. How you doing?
Hello.
I've got to talk. If you join, please say something so we know you're not a troll just here to boot everyone.
I think that was a sniper.
Possibly.
Nah.
So what do you think of Thrive and Survive then with his the moon is only 70 miles wide? I mean, I think it's going to be hard to prove, like you said, Nathan, before.
I wasn't going to offer my opinion on air. I just kept quiet when you answered then.
I mean, he makes a solid case for it, to be fair. But if that's the case, then that would essentially be saying that the moon is no more than 70 miles high, because that would be 1 degree of width, you know. So by his logic, that means that the moon could only be 70 miles high at most.
Well, that should be easy to prove. Just
Yeah.
move straight towards it, and if you can actually approach it and it gets larger and larger as you approach it, yeah, you just proved the moon is a physical, literal object 70 miles away. So
I can't see
you,
that though, because
I doubt it'll happen like that.
yeah, but I mean, I've, you know, when if I'm doing my observations from Blackpool and I'm looking at the Welsh mountains, I still feel that the moon is further away. I don't know why that, but I just feel that the moon is more than 70 miles away.
Well, that, yeah,
Meaningless feelings.
whatever its distance appears to be, I don't think it. Yeah, you can't really approach it. It'll just move along with your motion anyway. So it's a forever out of reach. Well, at least, yeah, if it is holographic, and I really think that it is, it's part of the globe of the heavens, then it'll just move away with you. And
So
yeah,
what
it's
do you
pretty
actually
easy to
think is?
test. Like, just move towards a a one of these bodies, like the moon, and just see that if you go in a straight line towards it, would it grow bigger? Because any literal physical object, if you approach it, then it'll grow bigger, a very consistent way. I don't think the moon actually does that ever, as yeah, as you would approach it.
We
I
do some
haven't
shout
seen any footage of it actually growing any bigger through travel, just zooming in. That's just it.
Should we do some shout outs? We've got Nathan's Looming Rage Burst. Hello.
Good to have you. Good to have you.
The Rig.
Nick, good to see you. Badge. Is it Badge? How do you say that?
Yeah.
Badge. Yeah.
Have you in? The Rig, good to see you. Sark's cool. John Watson. Roger MC.
Also
Good to have you all here. Please share the show.
Yeah. Keep coming back. You can't do without us, you know it.
My favourites are the commenters that go things like, this show's dying. It's like, thanks for watching and commenting.
Yeah. And keep coming back every single day.
Exactly, be sure to subscribe.
So how many subs do you reckon you're picking up each week, would you say, Nathan?
Each week? I don't know about weekly. I mean, it varies from, maybe none. Some days none, but maybe a couple all the way up to sometimes 10 a day. That's the best I've ever done, ever, in terms of increase in subscribers, was after going on Vice Media, and I gained 50 in a day. That was the most I ever gained in a single day, 50. But, anywhere from none to 10 a day sometimes. You could probably do the maths on it, not that I have, but just before, as it turned to 2018, I was at 5,000 subscribers. Now I'm at 5,452, I think, unless I've gained any since we've gone live. But that's about where I'm at. So in the last January, February, March, what were we in April?
Yeah, so it's about 100 a month then. So
100 a month. So I don't know how many that averages out to a day.
3 or 4. Yeah. So yeah, the show's dying.
Terrible.
Terrible,
About 3 a
isn't it?
day on average, something like that.
Yeah.
Which I see is absolutely fantastic, if I'm honest. That's amazing.
Ooh, they got a new they got a new thing. I'm a transvestite now.
Excuse
Wow.
me. Say
So
again.
they're gonna give me the full Patricia treatment now, I guess.
Are you being trans-investigated?
I guess so. It must mean that I'm even more famous than before if I get to that level of ridicule.
Pay no attention, Arwin. Meaningless nonsense.
Of course it's nonsense. I'm very, very secure about my sexuality, so it's just funny.
It just shows that you're going up in their estimation, because if they've decided to attack you and go to this kind of level, then yeah, you're obviously playing on their thoughts quite a lot.
Well, I do. Like, I just have to be here, not even mention any details or anything, and just the chat fills up with my name. Like, on average, on a show that I'm present at and actually do speak, I see my name typed like at least 50 to 80 times in chat, pure by trolls, just trying to somehow discourage me in a way. And it's just, I'm just astonished by that. Just astonished that they actually put so much effort in trying to discourage me, and they should know by now that it doesn't actually work because I keep coming back. And I already said that, like, oh, you don't want me on the panel? Okay, that means that I'm now instantly going on the panel, even though I was just considering it before. Because I'm like that.
Yeah, you get a lot of trouble from the keyboard warriors, but on the whole, they're not really worth any attention. How you doing,
Dawn?
Dawn? Good to have you. Can you hear us, Dawn?
I
Oh.
could hear him, but his sound was extremely low.
I didn't hear him.
Oh.
I didn't hear him either, to be fair.
Please say something if you join, Reed. I know you've got another account to try with Dawn, but just make sure you say something when you join.
Yeah, and put your mic up.
I saw
Did you
Dawn
work?
do a live stream the other day, and he is actually reasonably talented as a DJ. So he was using MP3 files on a Pioneer mixing desk that you just basically, like you used to get with CDs, you know, you could actually just put them into the machine and then use two separate wheels, i.e. you weren't actually spinning the CDs themselves like you would with records back in the day,
Yeah.
but you're just
Yeah,
using the
old-fashioned.
MP3 files. But, you know, he did a reasonably good job. I was quite impressed. Not necessarily my favourite genre of music, but still, I enjoyed it. Well done, Dawn. I enjoyed your live stream, mate.
What genre was that?
Like, I think it was drum and bass, but it was kind of
Oh, cool.
drum and bass with sort of squealy female vocals over the top, which I'm not really a big fan of.
Okay. Was it like really minimal or was it very wavy? Because I like drum and bass a lot, but only if it is very melodic, like high tech wavy type.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was good music. There was nothing wrong with it. It's just, I'm not saying it was bad. I enjoyed it. You know, it was good. Check it out. You know, I'm sure Dawn will do other live streams. He certainly had a few people watching, and like me, they were enjoying it. I enjoyed Tim Osmond's stream when he plays music. I've got to be honest. I really like Tim Osmond's taste in music. You know, he does have very good taste as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure he's not for everyone. I'm sure loads of people would say he plays terrible music, but I think it's good. Often I find myself putting Tim Osmond's live stream on my big stereo and listening to it, and my kid enjoys it too. So she's often listening to the music Tim Osmond plays. You know, Dawn Treader, not so much, but still very good. Right, Fireball ready to snipe everyone. Bastard. Get out. Did he successfully get rid of Ranty and Arwin? Let's see. Give it 30
No, I'm
seconds.
still here.
About Ranty.
I caught him.
Oh, yeah. Some of that Fireball. We'll see No in a minute. These people are nothing but predictable.
Fireball coming in, Ranty using his racket to deflect it. Boing.
Yeah, well, he was only coming in to snipe, so.
Of course he is. That's the only thing he's ever done.
Good if we could get Dawn back in.
Yeah, Dawn, come back.
I mean, I really just appreciate generally when people become a content producer. So for all the shit we give Al K, you know, we still do commend him for actually going out there, doing work and producing material, because there's a lot of people who don't.
Yeah, I think he was a little upset about having his image captured on one of my videos. No,
No,
hello?
see? Predictable as always. Did he snipe everyone?
No.
Ha ha ha. It's not even like... It's like about 2 minutes ago I grabbed my fast mouse and you're like... the pattern is so predictable it's untrue.
I'm literally hovered over the X, so whenever somebody joins, it's one click, gone. So unless they can snipe within 1 second, they're not going to get in and snipe today.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these people are probably gamers, so they've got better wrist action than me. You know, they're just quicker with a mouse, especially if they're a PC gamer.
Hey, but I was closer, wasn't I? It's definitely like it's now 60 minutes. So they started, the fireball came in like after 10 minutes.
There you go, flatmate. I should have predicted that one too. Same order as well, always the same order.
It's the same guy. I think it must be.
Yeah, well, it goes through the same routine, same accounts each time.
He literally thinks he's going to get in, doesn't he?
But have you
does
ever
occasionally.
heard that sniper say something? Or maybe it's just a fully automated bot. Just a bot program.
I don't think so.
Sniping.
No, I don't think so. There's certain things that you do actually. You have to have a proper G+ account that's registered to be able to join the Hangout in the first place. So, you know, these are, to a degree at least, registered accounts.
Right.
Just a game for these people, but that's fine. You know, I've said it all along. When that happens, that's part of the show, and often there's people in the audience who have only come to watch that happen and cheer when it takes me 2 minutes to set another show up. Fine.
Hey, Alrave and Lee is in the chat. Shout out to him.
Yeah, you two have been very, you know, I cite you both in terms of your explanations for what you call the slant.
Yeah, he's great.
Obstruction, formerly known as curvature, for those not in the know.
Dirty air. The bowlers love that. Dirty air.
Yeah, dirty air, the slant, obstruction, formerly known as curvature. All we get at the horizon, a little bit of obstruction, that's all we get.
Yeah, it's just very convenient. They zoom in on the slant, then exclude everything else, and if they're lucky, there is basically like a mist behind that slant zone, completely obscuring the line of sight beyond that, and then they just call that curvature. Just that one part, they just zoom in on one little square of perception and then say, oh, everything is exactly like that, everything is curved just like that, so it's a ball. That's the tactic they seek to fall back on every single time. They can't move beyond that. They have to literalize that curvature.
Sleeping wombat. Sorry, I'm late, Nathan. Sleeping wombat. Oh, that's the funniest name I've seen today.
And Anthony sent me a message earlier, and he was like, he's basically asking what's the difference between scientific evidence for curvature and Santa. And I was like, well, none, but unfortunately Math Powerland beat me to that example quite some time ago.
Right, when Anthony does join, I'm going to call him that.
He may not join at all. I don't know. I think he's got jobs on today. He may not join. We'll see. Hopefully he does.
Cool.
He's got the comic timing. So it's like on question 38 of me questioning Rumpus and saying, you know, what's your scientific proof of Earth curvature? obviously I'm not going to list off all the stipulations that went along with that now, but the point was that Anthony jumped in at that stage and was like, just make sure that we can validate and verify it. Timing.
I need to get myself a solar filter for the P900.
Are they available?
Yeah, you can get them.
Didn't think it had a thread on the end.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't think it did. I didn't think they put that on a compact camera. Not that it's very compact, but you know what I mean.
No, it does have a thread on it. Yeah, so you can
cool.
definitely put one on. I want to do some sun tracking at one, in the next month or two when we get a full day of good weather. I want to see whether or not the sun changes its angular size using the same, obviously the same settings and everything. We'll see.
With the solar filter? No, it don't.
With the solar, yeah.
No, it doesn't. You'll get the same effect at the horizon where it blurs. You know when you showed us those pictures where it's like dissolving into the red sky? Very beautiful pictures. You'll still get that effect on the horizon as it merges into the horizon, but in terms of what it does when it's going over, no, you won't see any angular size change.
Well, you should. Well, have you done it? Have you tested it yourself?
Yeah, I've got several solar filters.
What, and have you done the sun tracking through the day and done that exact experiment?
Yeah, well, I've done it loads of times, yeah. I mean, you won't see any angular change, Ronty, I'm sorry.
Right, okay.
I mean, there is... I've been corrected on this point, because I've done it, and I've done it in a rough way. I'm not going to try and profess that I've done some, really well laid out experiment that I could document now. I haven't. But I have done it, and I couldn't see any size change whatsoever, based on, like I say, just my judgment of what's there. And I've stated that and been corrected that there is a very tiny change. So, you can look that up. I'm sure it's curved water that can be credited with that. Hello, the bunny. How you doing? You say hello?
Yeah, essentially, I'm more interested in seeing what happens at sunset.
Oh, I see. Yeah, fair enough. You'll get some interesting effects. The same as what you've got already, pretty much.
Oh, come on, guys. Come on. Somebody just join and just actually join. Are you that afraid? Come on.
Dunning crew.
Hello, Dunning. Hello, Eric. How you doing? You say hello?
Hello. Come on, people.
Just trolls joining.
It is. That's all it is today. They're determined to snipe. I noticed 2 came in at once then, so...
Yeah, I noticed. You got one, I got the other, I think. But they're straight on mute, the same pattern every time.
Come on, ballers. Come on, actually join. Do something.
Bring some curvature evidence. We want to see the curve.
Yeah, you can do better than the rumpus.
Dawn Treader, hello.
Hello,
Hello.
Dawn Treader.
Yeah, that's the real him.
There you go.
I'm here this time. My mic didn't work, sorry.
That's alright.
And we
Good
can
to have
see
you.
your camera
Good to have you.
moving.
Yeah, can you just show us your equipment? I know it's been on screen before, so I just want to show the audience because I was talking about it earlier. I like tech stuff. Maybe you'll put your camera back on for us, Dawn, and I'll pop you up on screen if you do. If you don't want to, don't worry.
Could.
There you go.
You can just come to my YouTube channel and watch. That shit.
You've got
Somewhere
more?
there.
Something like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't realise you had more. So you've got even more equipment. Oh, cool. You're a very techie guy.
Yeah, I got my little computer station.
John Johnson, hello.
Hello, John. Good to have you.
It's also a real person.
What are we talking about then? It's quite a relaxed show. Thanks for being nice earlier. No.
No, it's a pleasure. I'm glad that you're producing stuff, mate. And I did enjoy your stream.
Yeah, that's my main hobby. Flat Earth just is a new hobby.
Cool. Do what you like, man. That's what I say. If you enjoy doing those DJ streams, I reckon you could build up an audience because you're good.
Yeah, guess what? I had 26 subscribers a couple of months ago, and after I put Flat Earth and PSYOP in the title, I've now got over 100.
Excellent.
I think it's the words Flat Earth, obviously, in the title.
Getting to 100 subscribers is possibly the hardest milestone. And I say that with all sincerity. 1,000, it seems like it's hard, but if you're producing content, it isn't. But even when you're producing content and you're putting it out there and you've got 5, 6, 7, 10 subscribers, no one's watching it to get them subscribing. So it's really hard to get up to 100. So well done.
Yeah. A bit gutted I had to use the words Flat Earth, but it's clickbait, and everyone does clickbait on YouTube.
Yeah, well, no, you are talking about Flat Earth. You addressed me in there. You asked a couple of questions regarding Flat Earth. So, you know, it is a side subject you're interested in. So I don't think it's clickbait to put it in your title, because if someone was to ask you something, you would answer them. So yeah, I don't see that as clickbait. I
stream the Discord and stuff as well sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't for 1 second see it as clickbait at all.
I had a conversation with Riley, me and Chris did on Riley's show the other night. That was quite cordial.
Yeah, he said he pinned you to the wall on the stars in terms of gathering the south rotations.
Kind of, yeah. His condition is he wants it exactly the same time, looking exactly south. So I was trying to explain, you can still see there's a second point of rotation without being exactly south.
Yeah, but
you can see 2 points of rotation from the equator with a wide-angle lens.
I think he wanted it from 2 different locations in the south, though, at the same time, with them both verifying that they're pointing south.
Chemo's now on the back of that argument saying this is what we need. This is what we need to prove the globe.
Well, globe of the heavens, at least.
Yeah,
I'm still,
sphere.
In my theory, I'm not even certain, like, is it a globe of the heavens that is spinning around us, or is it more like a cup with just a northern pole point? Not certain. I've seen conflicting evidence of what is seen in the south.
What do you think about Riley saying he would jump back to globe if we did this observation at the same time?
I think it was very presumptuous of him to say that. And I don't think he would actually say that now.
I think he's got quite a big declination issue, so he's obviously going to be not very convinced about how exactly someone is pointing south.
Well, there is an issue with that, at least with the magnetic poles. There are issues with the South Pole, big issues.
I called Dell up last night on the phone on his show. He's got a new costume. He's bought himself a suit with all funny words on it, and it's some weird glasses. So he said he's got a new upcoming series, something about TV, where he's going to be taking on charlatans and sophists
on TV.
Yeah, and he's got like 400 people
on watching TV or on his channel.
He said, "I'm going to be on TV." I don't know how.
Holy shit!
Truthfully, he was talking about it. It could be a series on his show.
Huh. Well, maybe he did get some contact.
But I was a bit gutted because he asked me, you know, have you got any measurable proof of curvature? And I said, obviously, I can't give that over the phone. So he wants to know, well, do you think it's a globe? I said, yes, I do. And he said it's very blatantly clear, like it's a globe. So he won't answer. I said, what about whole mountains being obstructed from the bottom? What about sunsets? And he just says, no. And he just, like, if he can't answer one question from Dawn, who didn't finish school, how is he a messiah to 400 people? I just don't understand it.
Well, he has a lot of charisma, and
yes,
he's not like a nerdy type like many of you guys and us in a way as well. Like, and we actually have the patience to answer all the machinations that you bring forth. He just doesn't have that. He does another thing, and he's like not afraid to just step to people and do his thing. And he does it great, and he's very popular. So he's on another corner.
Yeah,
he does it in his own way.
No argument, does he? But that makes his argument tighter than most people's.
But his argument still stands. He just doesn't have an intellectual blanket to make it appear as much as he is smarter. He just doesn't care about that.
But all he cares about is he believes.
That's what he's basically saying, and
he believes
he doesn't explain about it. But
believing water's level is enough to tell his family, Earth is not a globe.
Apparently, to him it is,
not really a
although he
belief.
does have some more arguments if you
That's not
hear him
belief,
out
though,
about
is it? Water at rest is flat. You know, it's used as a measuring tool for specifically that purpose. So it's not really a belief to say that water at rest is flat or that it seeks its level. That's true. That's just
There's
a
many
fact.
images of oceans bending in there of the globe.
Well, it's not
No.
water at rest, though, is
No,
it?
that's absolutely not true.
That's
Space
totally-
photos, soundy photos. That's
Yeah,
all.
but that's all fisheye lens modified imagery. So
No,
yeah,
You don't see
yeah,
any
it is.
No.
Soundly's not using a fisheye lens.
No, but
Soundly
that's
doesn't
the
show
actual,
water curving.
that's refraction. That's a refraction zone. That's an apparent slant. That's not curvature because there's no consistency in
A
it. It's
refraction
just a
zone
specific zone in
that bends the
perspective
curvature
that
exactly like the
apparently
globe Earth model.
curves, but it does not continue to curve.
Hang on, Arwen,
That's a
one
single
sec.
zone.
Arwen, Dawn Treader, you just said that Soundly shows the water curving. Could you bring up an image where Soundly has once shown water curving?
You can't blatantly see the water's curving. You can see the bridge
You
that
don't
is.
have that info. So that
I
was
can
where then?
bring up an image for you. You can see that the bridge is obviously level with the water, and you
That's
can
the
see the
bridge.
bridge curving.
I said the water curving.
Yeah, but obviously the water curving is what you deduce from seeing the bridge curving.
No, that's the optical illusion.
No.
Yeah, because he's looking through fog on all these images. It's foggy, it's misty. You've got the dirty air that's creating the miraging that's going on at the horizon.
So what
To
about
his-
the incoming airplanes that
to
disappear
his
behind
credit,
the horizon?
Dawn's already
200
con-
They disappear out of view.
200 feet before they land.
Dawn's already conceded it's perceived curvature. So he hasn't said in any way that he can show us measured curvature. It's just a perception. And if Dawn wants to perceive that as curvature, good for you. You know, fine. That's your perception. But that's all it is, your perception.
It's your imagination about what you're seeing. That's literally what it is.
It
Because
fits
it
the
is
globe-
refraction. It's an optical effect
It fits the
that
globe model perfectly.
can fool you into seeing curvature, but it's not literal. It's an optical effect, and it's only in a very specific zone.
You've just
It is
decided.
not universal. It is not a universal curvature that is all present.
Spurs, hello.
Hey, Spurs.
Emo,
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, just about to kick you. Good job you spoke.
It was just loading so slowly, but yes. I think there's a lag to this. Give an
So,
opportunity.
I do find that weird that you ask for bendy water and it's hard for us to provide it. Like we have to go to space photos of a ball, blue marble, to show you bendy water.
No,
Because I can show you a Soundly picture, which to me is like I deduce bendy water because I can see the bridge is level and it's bending. And it's bending exactly with the globe Earth model.
Well, hang on, you do realise
no, it
that
doesn't do that. It just
It does. They've modeled.
No. It's just a very specific zone that you actually look onto that apparently curves. But it's like a curvature. Any curvature based on the globe model should be consistent and persistent everywhere. And it's not. It's just that one single zone within the perception of that.
So
of
you
that
think there's
camera.
some kind of
That's it.
special fog on Lake Pontchartrain that's different from other places?
special fog. No,
Yeah,
it happens
that's the
everywhere.
obstruction. It's the line of sight is cut off.
Anytime you
Just
look through
reach
fog,
further. And all of that sight before that does not curve. It's just that one little window that you're gazing on that seems to apparently curve.
So what about
Because of
the
refraction, because of
incoming
refraction bending light upwards in a single slant. And then because the further down line of sight is obstructed because of the air moisture or whatever is actually causing that obstruction, you don't see that the line of sight continuates in a perfectly straight line from that slant point on. In other footage, where the air is very clear, you do actually get to see that, like the Isle of Man footage, for example. All those other footages that Ranty and Riley have taken.
So Soundly's
No, that
images are full of fog, and Ranny's and Riley's are really good.
Now, it's fogging up is in your advantage when you want to imagine that the refraction zone is curvature, because the fog in the distance then hides from the line of sight that it just continues on in a straight line. It's very convenient for your imagining of the curvature.
It's very convenient because it fits the globe math perfectly.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't
No,
at
it
all.
does. They've
No,
modeled
it just
Oh,
fits it
come on.
perfectly in that one
They've
single
also modeled
square
it
of
on
your
a flat
view.
Earth, and it doesn't
It
look anything
only
like
fits in that one single square of your view. It doesn't fit universally as it should, and it doesn't.
But saying you can make mathematics fit perception is, for me, quite literally meaningless.
No, the perception fits the mathematics.
Well, so what? Neither are proof of anything.
Well, don't you think that's quite a coincidence?
It means nothing because it proves
It's
nothing.
exactly a coincidence.
Yeah, it means nothing.
It's a coincidence that Sally's taken an image that fits the globe math perfectly.
Yeah.
He took a one single frame of a specific distant
It's not one
location
single frame.
that appears to be curved.
He's done
and
live
That
streams.
frame just shows that one single part that just is apparently curved.
Oh, and that's
Through
a
an
lie.
optical effect,
Hold on,
excluding
hold on, both of
everything
you.
else
Hold on.
that is not curved.
Hold on.
That's
Hold on. Ranty, you've got a video that you've just published. Can you bring it up on screen? We don't need the sound. If you can just play the pictures from your most recent video.
The end part, or
Just a whole video. Just pop it up, share your screen, and I'll just let it play through. It's about 6 minutes long. We'll just leave it up on screen because it's got narration.
I'm going to bet 100 pennies that it shows obstruction.
Okay, well, it's not actually a video of the obstruction of Earth curvature. It's from a
Put it in the
side-on
super chat.
view. It's side-on view.
Is it objects in the ocean?
You'll see. Just be patient. It's okay, Dawn.
Okay.
There's no rush.
Who's the bet? Put that 100 pennies in the super chat, Don.
100 pennies?
Yeah, 100 pennies.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see any super chat go by. Am I
No,
blind?
I just hypothetically bet 100 pennies that Rani's video shows obstruction.
He's gonna lose the bet. He's gonna have to put that into super chat.
Let me know when you... Oh, yeah, you are ready, Ranty. Yeah, if you can...
yeah.
Yeah, just press play and leave it to run. It's got narration underneath. I'll just check the
Okay.
screen's presented nicely for the audience. I'm pretty sure it is.
It's
Yeah,
only
looks
a
good.
2-minute
Looks
video.
good. Looks good. 100 people watching this right now. Is it playing?
It's very blurry, but I can see obstruction in the background.
Yeah, it is. Excellent.
You see the bridge curving behind the horizon, can't you?
It's
Yeah, it's definitely
video-
curving over the horizon, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But behind it, it seems to just continue on. doesn't
No.
it? No, really. So what is that?
flat there.
That
Interesting.
in distance. What is that there?
This is a different image now.
This was from his entire video.
Video.
There we go.
Still
That's the one
taken.
with obstruction on it.
that's right.
That's the one. There's no obstruction. We're not looking at any obstruction. Nothing's obstructed, Dawn.
You can see the bridge curving behind the horizon.
Curving, right. That's it. Curving. You've got it. We're on track again.
You do realize that both these images are taken from the same video he just told you. So in one, it shows this apparent curvature that you immediately latch onto as, oh, look, that is the proof. And in the other one, it doesn't. Fooled you.
So what's this supposed to be showing then, Rani?
This is
No,
Soundly's
you should
video.
have. You should know this. You should have studied Soundly's work because you're referencing it as proof of curvature.
Oh,
the
that's
real
not
beyond the
Dell.
imaginary curve. I doubt it, as he's gone straight on mute.
It was funny to see him on the show the other day.
Yeah, it was yesterday. He was
I
good.
think it's the real one.
He was good.
So why have you re-uploaded this, Rani? What does this mean?
Well, this is just to. Oh, look, there's the. Well, just watch the rest of the video and you'll see.
This just proves with the motion that it's an optical effect. It's refraction. It's not actually a curve. It's refraction that appears to cause an apparent curve.
Let's
So
say
there's-
hypothetically there's two
before.
other lakes in the world, and there's two other Soundleys, different people from around the world, and they've got the same footage.
Hang on, what's this? What's this showing here?
Just proves the refraction
showing?
zone.
Let's see
Is
what
that-
Dawn's got to say about it because Dawn has cited this and said we're seeing
a
curve in
concave
Soundly's
Earth, yeah?
videos. So what's this? Good point, Ranty.
What's this point here? Is this going over the? Has the curve gone the other way now?
I'm not sure what's happening there.
Refraction. That's what's happening. But we're asking you in reference to the ball you think it bends around and have cited this as proof of it. What's going on right now? Do we live on a concave Earth now because of the lights and the way they appear to us?
They even seem to split apart.
Well, refraction is variable. We've talked about this before. You see that one there where it's curving down?
Yeah, that's our argument.
That's where it's curving
Well done,
up,
Dawn. Thanks.
curving
Good to have you
down,
on side.
curving up. And this is what Soundly videoed.
So, good, Dawn. Well done. Not curvature, refraction. Good job.
Yeah, and if it just so
Oh, have I lost my whole panel? I didn't even see anybody join. Amazing. In the blink of an eye, my entire panel drops.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, they didn't like that, did they?
I don't know, what were we talking about?
Oh, I believe it was Soundly and showing the curving up and curving down.
But nobody joined. Did you see anyone join?
No. But then again, I was playing the video, so I
That's
wasn't
true.
watching the back door.
But I didn't see anyone join. Oh well. It will remain a mystery. Yeah, do you want to pop that video back up, Ranty? We'll just let it play through to the end. I mean, it's pretty much made its main point, but it's nice to have the whole thing played. Why not?
Play it again, you mean? Play it again, Sam.
Or get it to the bit where it's like no boys and girls.
Okay.
Did you make that video?
I did, yeah.
That's excellent. I mean, I know that Anthony had done a variant on it, but honestly, I think that's a much better video. It's more concise than Anthony did it, and it's, you know, don't get me wrong, it's the second time it's been done, but fantastic. You know, really concise. Good music too. Did you get a strike for that?
No, I don't. You don't get a strike if I'm not monetized, you see. So
yeah, but they take that's what I mean by strike. They demonetize the video in the respect that they don't allow you to monetize it and say this has got copyright material on it. Did it state that it had got copywritten material on it?
No, I haven't had a notification from YouTube saying that. So
I'm amazed.
Normally I'll get. Sorry.
I'm amazed.
Yeah, normally I'll get an email saying that there's been a copyright claim on the video, and they can play ads on it, and obviously the revenue will go to the whoever's the copyright owner.
Sure.
However, I didn't get one for this, so
fair enough. Can you play it? Stick it about halfway through, or however long you got to.
Yeah. So in case people aren't aware of what actually is happening here, this is a solid bridge, and this is some water in a canal sort of area. These lights that are on the top were fixed to the bridge, and the lights underneath are the reflections in the water. So that's, and what we're seeing here is the refraction that you get both up and down. So people that have always said that they don't get refraction up and down, clearly, Soundly, the All Earth God, so to speak, of All Earth Proof, has proven that light does go up and down as well. So this is what this entire video was about, basically. Because there has been some people come on the show recently and said that light doesn't go up or down, it just goes one way.
Yeah, they like to inject the presupposition that it is curved, therefore it must be only deviating from the 7.6R, the standard that it bends around the presupposed curve. Therefore, it's not actually bending up and down. It's just a slightly less variant of down. It's like, yeah, based on your presupposition that there's a curve, and that's the whole point of this debate show. So, yeah, you can't really come in and just presuppose a curve and use that as your evidence and proof when you inject the evidence that is completely and utterly suggesting that it's flat.
I mean, this is his video. You can see already that the light is, the solid fixed lights along that red line are going up and down. Now, they're not physically moving because they're attached to the bridge, and the camera isn't moving either because it's a time lapse. It's actually fixed in place. What you're actually seeing is the light from these solid sources changing both up and down, being moved around by refraction. However, what Soundly will do, and he has done on this particular video, in fact, is when the drop at the end, when the lights are going at the furthest part down, he's claiming that that is the curvature of the Earth.
Yep.
This is the cherry picking that I'm picking out in this particular video.
It's literally a cherry picking. It's like
Yeah,
that one part that just happened to be a little bit enough curved. That's shows the curve of the entire Earth. That's what he's doing every time.
I'm pretty sure this is a concave slam dunk, actually.
Maybe, who knows?
I'm telling you, man. There's refraction to take into consideration, but basically the Earth bends up 7/6R. So, yeah, man, when you account for the fact that it bends up as a presupposition, this is a slam dunk concave proof, man. There's no denying it.
To me, it is more likely that the Earth is concave than that it's a globe. At least. Seems much more likely, and it
about as likely as Dick Earth.
There's more physical possibility to it. There's less holes in the entire theory.
There's no holes in Dick Earth theory.
Just the one at the top.
So those are a different part of the structure in Dick Earth. They're like black holes somewhere else. Flying around in a circle towards black holes, sometimes sucked into them. But Dick Earth gets like spaghettification effects happening. It gets stretched when that happens.
Alkay's just
check
said,
out Dick Earth.
Alkay's put, actually, Ranty, you are the one that's cherry picking. How so? How am I cherry picking?
I'm not cherry picking. I'm telling you right now that definitely, I've read it somewhere, that conforms perfectly to the presuppositional argument that is concave, because you saw it, man. The light's bent up and down. But that doesn't matter because we've already factored that into the maths. So mathematically, concave proof, right there. You got it.
We're not cherry picking. We're choosing apples.
Yeah, man. You've got to pick the best one.
So it's too bad. Like, it was pretty good having Don in there. He was actually behaving. So, yeah, too bad that didn't continue on.
Yeah, Don's good. It's a shame Dawn couldn't stay. But, oh well. I'll put the link out publicly again in a minute. Then we'll battle trolls.
Better than when they don't get all rude and everything, you know? It's more interesting.
Don's a good guy.
Yeah, well, they couldn't have Dawn in there because ultimately he said that Soundly had captured water curving, which he didn't. And then, obviously, when I was showing about how retarded Soundly's videos actually are, they sniped the hangout. So it's just what happens. He was failing in his argument.
At least we managed to keep it in there for 40 minutes before actually being sniped. So
that's it. I'll do a quick link and then I'll put the public chat link out. So
right.
And actually rejoin, and then we'll battle trolls for a bit. Why not? Because we've got approximately, I think we've got about an hour left, maybe a little bit more. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Hope you're enjoying the debate thus far. Thanks to Dawn for making it not a circle jerk in this instance. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once the video has rendered. But if you would like to join the discussion, simply click the link in a moment when I publish it in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin this stream. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, of course, and that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is a little over 1 hour left on this live stream.
Yeah, I noticed we've got LK in the chat. Now, he's the gentleman that put a video in the last couple of days measuring the height of the hill at St. Bees. And he went to great detail of showing where he was, throwing the tape down and all this kind of stuff. However, the most important part of everything, which was actually showing the measurement on of the reel, he didn't do it. He didn't produce that. He just claimed it was I think 131 feet without actually showing that evidence. So I think you need to up your game, LK, because if you went to measure the hill and the one thing that we needed to see was the measurement on the tape, you didn't produce that, buddy. It was a good effort, though.
Hey, Dom.
I'm back. All right.
Let's turn you down a little bit.
I'm back. All right.
Good to have you back.
I wasn't watching the back chat, but I'm guessing it's because I wasn't trying to troll you guys hard enough, so we all got sniped.
Yeah, they don't want us having a reasonable and polite conversation, but there we go. I'm still grateful that you've tried.
They instantly think that we should have knives out for each other and be slashing at each other's throats on this debate platform, but to be fair, I prefer it when it's civil. It's just not as entertaining for the trolls. Sel, is that you?
No, it's not.
He's gone.
Yeah, it needs to be gotten rid of out of the back chat.
Yeah, I've got rid of him. Okay, why don't you join the panel, bud? Why don't you come and tell us about your measuring the height video? I'd love to see the measurement on the tape.
Didn't he tell you when you met him that he wasn't actually interested in the debate? Just it seems odd that somebody would say that is still publishing videos about this subject.
No, it's so out of date though. I mean, he produced a video. It took him like 2.5 weeks to put that video out. I don't know why. I mean, because the height of the hill's been and gone. It's like yesterday's news, isn't it?
Yeah, and it doesn't bring back the lighthouse. Hello,
Leave
leave
alone.
alone. Can you say hello?
You know what? The thing is, when you've got people that are coming in and you've never seen them chat once in the side chat, you've never seen the name ever appear in there and mention speak or anything, and then they just appear in the Google Hangout, you know they're not a real account.
Right, all right. See, beyond the curve. That's not going to be you again. Straight on mute. Dell joined with his camera on, so instantly I knew it was Dell.
Right.
And I think a few people try and join with their camera on but point it at something random, so it seems like they're legit. And I boot them as well, because they normally go on mute immediately. It's like,
Okay,
this isn't my
Okay,
first
getting
rodeo,
very-
guys. I've been doing it in this
visible,
manner
okay.
with the public link out, like the most dangerous way. I used to do it when I was doing it without OBS, like super risky. Don't do it if you're not using OBS. Just don't publicly broadcast the link ever, and you'll be fine. But once they're in your Hangout, if they can kick you out, that's it. They've got control of your Hangout for 5 minutes. But nonetheless, I still published the link when I was doing sun tracking 2 years ago, and it was dodge. It was very dodge. You know, I was risking my channel every moment it was live. Whereas now, it's just not the case. There's a guy who goes around calling himself
I watched
Flat
one
Earth
of Timmy's
Cornball.
videos where he got Dell for like the 5th time. he showed his ankles and that and took over for 5 minutes. Just thought, why can't Dell work out OBS? Like, he's still got a weird back hangout method now with 2 hangouts. Like, OBS is too complicated for him, but he's still a messiah of 400 people. It's confusing.
What's your issue? Is it because you're producing content now? This sounds like just flat out jealousy.
I really don't like him.
So why'd you watch him?
I kind of see it as observing a cult leader in a way, to be honest.
So you do like him?
No.
Yeah, you like observing the cult leader that is Dal in your mind. That is an enjoyment.
I enjoy observing it, but that doesn't mean I like him.
Okay, I mean, you can call it love to hate if you want, but, you know, it's the same thing.
Maybe obsessed or fascinated is the word.
Right, so you're actually a big fan of Dal.
No, I hate him.
You are. You just don't like me pointing this out to you.
I also watched a video recently. I found it, him indoctrinating his daughter live on YouTube.
See, you want to talk about him? You want to tell us about what he's up to? Man, you're a mega fan.
It seems like you must watch most of his live streams if you know him that well.
He's one of the worst.
It's all new to me, man. I don't watch Dal.
No, me neither. So.
But it's nice to have a fan on the show that can tell us what he's up to.
Yeah. Thanks for
I
informing
do watch Dell. I watch him.
You love to love him, though, right? Got someone who loves to hate him, someone who loves to love him, but both fans equally.
Well, I watch him, but I came in there
adding to his metrics.
I made some comments in the chat, just normal comments, and then I got blocked. So I think I'm actually blocked on his channel from typing.
Yeah, me too. Like I came on his show once, or maybe even twice. I think I mirrored one of those, and then after a while, he didn't like me basically countering his arguments for technical sake. After that, yeah, I think he blocked me after
Hi,
that.
Lottie. How you doing? You hear us? Fake Lottie. That was you, Lottie. Try again on a different account. Feel free. Just say something when you join. It's all gone quiet. Has everyone been kicked already?
No.
No, still here.
Just checking.
Yeah, quite. Like I say, I mean, I enjoy Dell's passion, you know, because he doesn't hold back, and he actually goes out and he does activism. So, you know, I've got nothing bad to say about him.
That's the bit I don't like, when he approaches children in parks and shit. Vulnerable people on the street.
Yeah, well, approaching vulnerable people in the street or under guise of government policy in the schools. It's either way.
Well, one's backed up with facts and science, isn't it? And one's just Dell's madness.
Mm.
He's just decided water is always level.
It is.
Well,
We went through this earlier.
What
What makes you think it isn't?
Well, because Earth is clearly a globe, and 70-something%.
Why is it clearly?
Well, because you can see whole mountains obstructed from the bottom. You can see sunsets, eclipses, southern stars.
None of that involve
things.
water. You've just done a rumpus. So I say, how do we validate this picture from space? He says, go to St. Bees with a theodolite. I say, how do you prove that water can, at rest, bend, or doesn't act as Dell describes, which is absolutely accurate? And you're saying the proof of that is the stars. This is, I mean, I don't know how you do these mental gymnastics to do that.
I'm not saying the stars prove curved water. I'm saying I verified the shape of the Earth from all of those different things that were impossible on a flat Earth. And I know 70% of the surface of Earth is covered in water. So it must bend, mustn't it?
So it's,
No, but it's
so
not
what it is,
impossible.
hold on, I went. So it's an extrapolation based on your logical reasoning, which proves nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, good for you. You have what's known as a belief.
It's not really a belief, though.
It is absolutely, unequivocally a belief.
The shape of the globe explains why a sun sets. Flat Earth doesn't.
Good for you. You can believe that all you like.
We have 2 points of rotation in the sky. That's impossible on a flat Earth unless you want to admit that the sky's fucked up.
I don't... please don't swear. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
It's all right. just, I know you're not annoyed, so it's not a problem. But
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, it's a good.
I just mean it's weird and messy, like a simulation sky. Like if Owen's ready to admit that, he's ready to explain the simulation sky for all of you. But most of you, try and deny it. Like even Riley, when he's making up his experiment of looking exactly south, getting past the declination, he's not acknowledging that there's 2 points of rotation in the sky already.
I acknowledge that. I've been and seen it with my own eyes.
Right. So how do you think that works on a flat Earth? A second point of rotation in the south.
I have no coherent explanation for it, unfortunately.
Okay. But we do.
So, does that make the world a globe?
Yes, it fits the spinning globe model perfectly.
You've even got their conflation immediately ready. It matches the model. So
it does, yeah. A spinning globe makes 2 points of rotation in the sky.
Sure.
That's how it works.
It matches a model.
Matches observable reality.
No, you've just said observable reality matches the model. So now you're spinning it on
Proving
its
the model
head
correct.
to try and make it. It's circular reasoning. That is what you're doing.
Have you seen the Mount Rainier photograph of the mountain shadow on the clouds? Anybody?
Yes, I have.
And have you got an explanation for that on a flat Earth? How does the sun go below the mountain and project a shadow up onto the clouds?
Well, the closer it gets to the horizon in the distance, would mean that at some point it's going to project its light up. So
how does it get closer to the horizon?
What's on screen now is a close to the horizon sun, and you can probably see that it's light in the bottom of those clouds. So if there's a mountain between it and those clouds, it would project that shadow up.
Yeah, because the sun is at the horizon. Because
because the sun's at the horizon.
Curved. The sun doesn't go
right,
to the
so I've
horizon
explained it,
flat.
and not once have I needed to interject with the words "because the Earth's a globe." Hi, Hellboy. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
You
Pish, pish, pish.
say something, Hellboy.
I've got rid of him already. I couldn't hear him say anything.
I can't get in the back chat now, for some reason.
So-
I don't really understand the flat Earth explanation of how the sun even gets to the horizon.
Well, I can explain using the holographic globe of the heavens theory.
No, that's a fair point. I mean, I have no explanation for you. I don't understand the mechanics of the sun, and I'm happy to admit that. Watching its patterns, that doesn't prove what it is, where it is, how it works. But you can watch its patterns, and you can plot those into a model. But that doesn't prove Earth is a sphere.
Not enough for you, but it is for everybody else.
That's fine. That's what I said. You're entitled to your belief.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Okay, so if you're looking at Nathan's screen now, why does it look like the sun is localized there?
What do you mean localized?
Why does it look localized? If you look at the area that's lit up as opposed to the area that's dark, it's in a sphere shape as opposed to a hard line. Now, if that was going around the curve of the Earth, it wouldn't look localized like that, like a spotlight.
I don't know what localized looks like. I don't know.
Well, when we say a localized sun, we mean a sun that isn't as far away as 93 million miles. We're saying
When you say it
much,
looks
much
like that,
nearer.
what do you mean?
That it's only enlightening a small area of the sky as opposed to the whole sky as the sun sets. Why is the light localized around the sun rather than dispersed over the entire horizon, as you would expect to see as it goes around as the sun sets?
I'd assume it's because it's setting. I'm not an expert on light rays either.
It's just an apparent disk. Literally, as it moves down on the edge of vision, it just goes into the earth. Just disappears there. Because it's not physical. It's not a physical object. It's just there, apparently.
But
And
you've
then-
just decided that, Owen, haven't you? You can't.
No, I
prove it.
based that on observations of how the globe of the heavens functions, and inapproachability of the heavenly bodies and all that.
Do you believe that you've got a better idea of what the sun is than all the other people on planet Earth? Or
That
Earth?
same.
Well, not all of them, but
That same.
I don't jump to conclusions that easily of physical literalism when it comes to the heavenly bodies, definitely. But it's very hard. Like, just because there's a consensus among many people as to what it supposedly is doesn't mean that they are correct. It just means that the psyche of the general human being tends to jump to conclusions that seem more logical, more simple. People believe in simple things rather than complex things because
It's
that's
not
what they
really
can
simple.
imagine.
It's not simple, is it? The science of what the sun is and how it moves. That's not simple.
It's abundant in explanation, though, so there's plenty of references. And if all your references reference one thing, you will accept that thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Why are the other clouds not lighting up? Why is it only the clouds nearest the sun that are lighting up? When the other clouds are obviously still in sunlight, but they're not getting that really red reflection of the sun.
I don't know. I'm guessing because it's setting. Half the sunlight's behind the horizon, maybe.
Yeah,
How
but
is
you
that
can-
an explanation?
Jazzaconda, hello.
Oh, no.
The Rumpus, hello.
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 Good to have you. Nice to see you again.
Doesn't sound like the Rumpus.
It's definitely me. Yes, I'm a little bit sleepy, but it's definitely
All right.
me.
Cool.
Sleepy? It's 2:10.
Yeah, I was attending some lectures in Oxford yesterday, and I had a bit too much to drink last night.
Oh, wow. How did it go?
Yeah, it was a lecture on by the woman who does the Astroquizzical blog, and she's into galaxies and explaining various solar system effects and galaxy and dark matter and she's an astrophysicist, and she was talking about astrophysics and her book that she's just released on the subject. Colliding galaxies is her speciality.
Cool. What's her name?
Nice science fiction.
Her name is Gillian Schruber, and she runs the Astroquizzical blog, which you can actually link to if you look up Astroquizzical on Google. On Google, you will get to astroquizzical.com, and she's decided to do that. She got so many questions. She once was in a hangout or something. I can't remember what it was. How she started off, or university. Something else, some online thing, and I said, okay, I just won't bother. I'll just answer questions. So then, from all those questions she was asked from people, she's always interested in questions, and from that, she wrote this blog she's been doing for 3 years, and then she realised she'd answered about God knows how many questions, and she's still got 500 unanswered. Thing at the beginning of the university, she's covered anything to do with astrophysics, anything to do with cosmology, and she thought, well, she's written so many answers, she thought she'd put it into a book, and then she came to tell us all about her life and cosmology, and how she's still got 500 unanswered questions. She's still, so I quizzed her about quasars and things, and how the Earth should look, how the universe should look, and a bit of time dilation and dark matter, which is in colliding galaxies. You get all sorts of issues to do with dark matter, where the dark matter just carries on going through, whereas when we have a colliding galaxy, the gaseous part of it interacts with one another, but the dark matter bit doesn't. So the dark matter shoots through the collision, but the actual gas and stuff actually sort of stays in a blob. And then they think that the dark matter might sort of like an elastic band, go backwards and then recombine to join with the collided lump that you end up with after about 1 billion years or so.
Right.
Did you have any questions?
Yeah, so she's into the edge. She's always answering weird questions from people.
Did you have any for her?
Yeah, I asked her about the colliding galaxies and the explanation for dark matter, and I also quizzed her about how far you should be able to see in the universe if you want a quasar that you can see in the distance. But of course, That's in the far past as well, of course. That the quasars that we can see on the edge of the universe are 13 odd billion years ago, and therefore they look. You also, whenever you ask questions like that, you're also going back in time when the universe was much smaller. So I asked about 3 or 4 questions. Actually, I asked probably more than anybody else. Actually,
Did you get good answers? Were you happy?
I think so. Yes. She was able to give me some good answers as much as she knew. She obviously things like she was showing us the pictures of Pluto, that she was associated with the Pluto people. The NASA, she knew the New Horizons team very well, and so she was saying that 2 weeks before they went to Pluto, she showed us the image on the Hubble Space Telescope they had, which is basically a blob with it's a little bit more than a blob. But it has sort of it's a I didn't quite. You couldn't make out very much, and then she showed that. Then she was saying that now the general public has more idea about about Pluto than Pluto specialists did 2 weeks before the arrival of the New Horizons satellite, which she thought was quite amusing. Because now we've got perfect pictures. I don't know if you've seen them sort of apart on the side of Pluto.
No, I heard about how those pictures were supposedly taken, like it flying past it.
It was very, very difficult.
Speed, and then taking this one perfectly blurred picture, which makes absolutely no sense.
The way they had to do that, they had to put the computer simulation, because they were going past, I think it was at 30,000 miles an hour, and so they went. I can't remember how close they actually passed it by. They had to swing the camera at a particular speed as it was going past Pluto. They had to get the speed of the camera swinging by at exactly the right, so they could hold it sort of stationary in shot. It was extremely tricky, and they were absolutely
it was actually moving as the picture was taking.
Oh, yeah.
That's very interesting, because if you actually do that on the Earth in a miniature setup, it's never going to yield a perfectly sharp, clear picture. It's going to be blurred.
Yes, but that's because when you're on the Earth is stationary with respect to you. But if you're moving past an object and it's charging past you, if you swing the camera, you can keep it stationary in your field of view.
They can calculate it, Alwyn.
The actual object, as you rotate around it, as you move past it, even if you angle it perfectly aligned to that location of the object, it's going to be blurred. You can't have a perfectly sharp picture. That is physically impossible.
No, they modelled it, Alwyn. They modelled it.
It has to do with photography, actually.
They modelled it prior to going.
If you take a picture while you're moving, it's going to be blurred.
Yes, that's because it's jiggling. That's because you're jiggling. If you're something that's jiggling around, you're not. But this satellite is going at a perfectly smooth speed, so it doesn't have a problem with jiggling around like you're in an aeroplane or something, which you would obviously get a blurred picture. But if you know exactly how fast you're going perfectly smoothly, like a satellite is, and you know you're approaching something else which is also moving very smoothly, then you can just change the angle of the camera as you go by, and you can keep it perfectly in frame.
So what was the time delay in talking to the satellite from Earth and giving it commands?
Oh, well, they didn't do any of that. They had to do it days in advance. They had to program it, what it had. They had to make an adjustment. They were going to miss it, actually. I think 2 weeks beforehand, they had to panic. They realized they were going to weren't going to go close enough. And so they had to give it some last minute instructions to give it a little bit of a jiggle to get it at the right angle. But they nearly missed it very close to, and they were dead scared they weren't going to be able to make this adjustment. Fortunately, they were able to do so. And obviously, once they gave instructions, they couldn't instruct the thing itself. Once it got near the target, they just simply had to give it a program saying, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to swing your camera. This is where you're going to go by. And this is why they were all dead scared they'd cocked it up until they actually got those pictures. They didn't know it had all worked. But
what year did they release this satellite? It
was about 10 years ago.
So 10-year-old technology. What definition do you think it was able to capture from 10-year-old technology?
Well, we've had very high-resolution digital cameras. It's been very expensive. But that's the difference being made in modern technology is how cheap it is. The fact you can now put a high-res picture on a bloody mutton phone is a reduction in cost. But if you're prepared to pay enough money years ago, which obviously NASA can do, you can have any sort of resolution that you want, basically. I mean, if Hubble, let's not forget, Hubble is incredibly high-resolution stuff, and that was launched, 20 years ago now?
Yeah, that was dramatic too. Do you remember when it almost didn't work as well? That was a very similar story. I mean, they got it up there, and it
didn't work.
It didn't work. It was terrible. And then there was
terrible.
It was
by a hair's
and dramatic.
breadth.
Amazing that there's a similar story with capturing images of this Pluto. Amazing that you've got a similar story, really. They almost didn't get it. It almost didn't work. There was a very dramatic, terrible situation where they had to rescue it with the current technology, even though the old technology didn't work. And yet, we have these perfect images from Hubble and perfect images from, Juno or whatever it's called.
Well, they practice things like crazy. I mean, they go through lots and lots of procedures on this. They test things to death. I mean, for instance, something like the shuttle. When the program they put into the shuttle to make that work, they had a whole team of people to find out problems in the software. And they would find problems in the software repeatedly. And it's only through the intense scrutiny of a sort of people trying to break the system did they actually manage to make it reliable.
Amazing.
If you've ever been involved in a big project, Nathan, you must understand that things always go wrong. You're always going to have a story. I mean, with landing on the moon, for instance, within 30 seconds of landing, the computer cocked up, came up with an error, and they didn't know what to do. But fortunately, some chap in the control had written the damn thing and said, you can ignore that error and carry on. So they did. They very nearly aborted. Neil Armstrong very nearly aborted the landing of the thing within 30 seconds of doing so, but he was given the okay to go ahead by the controllers when the computer basically said, I've got too much going on. The radar bouncing off the surface of the moon overloaded the processing power of the CPU, and they had to start giving up tasks. They had to stop doing some of the interrupt-based tasks. And then it came up with this error. Unfortunately, the program, he knew all the error codes that this thing came up with, said, no, that's fine, you can go ahead. And so everybody breathed a sigh of relief, and old Neil Armstrong carried on. But it very, very nearly was aborted. Neil was going to abort that thing there and then, but he just didn't, not quite.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, Could almost be made up, could almost be scripted. You just don't know. We'll never know. We'll never validate and verify any of this stuff, but it's a nice just so story that kind of is good for the kids. It's nice.
It's a real story. Like, real stories are very exciting.
Yeah, it's a real story, like RoboCop. Real story. We can all relate to RoboCop. It's a nice story about a robot that was a man, and they turned him into a robot, and then he went and had troubles with the drug dealers. It's a nice story.
If you think RoboCop's real, Nathan, then, well, I think that just is an indication of what you think is real. You can't.
Yeah, I could kind of say the same thing about you with these stories from NASA. If you want to believe that these Hollywood fictions from NASA are true rumpus, that kind of tells me the kind of person you are. The kind of person that believes basically anything that he sees on TV. That's good for you.
No, I don't believe everything I see on TV. I'm very sceptical. I require lots of independent evidence.
Of course.
I'm very critical. I
he was all over Al Kay. He's saying to him how well he'd done with his measurement of the hill, and he didn't even show the tape measure.
That's true. Yeah, no,
you said absolutely brilliant work. He was, licking his testicles over it.
Well, I think he did a fantastic. I spoke to him.
He did a fantastic job, and you're very sceptical. We get it, Rumpus.
He was suffering.
You're very sceptical.
He was suffering like crazy with that goal. Well, he's demonstrated repeatedly
comical.
That he tries to
You're
do
good for a laugh.
job.
You're good for a laugh.
He's
it's
gained
funny.
my
It's
confidence.
good fun having you here because you do amuse us.
He's gained my confidence in the fact that he tries to do his very best. For instance,
you know what? There's a great quote from The Rock, right? And I have to swear to quote Sean Connery. And he says, losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Right. Jolly good. Well, anyway, he's demonstrated that he's measured in his claims, and you could see from the video how he carefully lined up his thing, and he's got a nice taut tape,
really well.
and he included shots of the angle.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
did he almost not quite get the measurement? There was like a precarious moment in the middle when we all thought he wasn't going to get it, and then suddenly he had a phone call from you. You told him how to sort it out, and then they did get the measurement. It was very dramatic.
I mean, Ranty, you know how unwell he was, and also he did.
Oh, right, there really is a story that goes with this about how he nearly didn't get it. Oh, I love this.
He did have, if you recall, he did actually try and take some images on his iPhone or whatever, which for some reason switched off. He pressed it twice and didn't work. There's only one of him, so he couldn't check it.
Oh, that's not very dramatic. Oh, come on.
Anyway,
I mean, you can't expect us to accept that as topping NASA. I mean, come on. Apollo 13. That was very dramatic. That's another instance where they almost nearly didn't make it. Not just didn't make it to the moon, they almost didn't make it back home. Worthy of a Hollywood movie, I would think, I mean, there was a Hollywood movie about it too, of course, but, that was more realistic.
So I mean, I mean, also I don't regard. As far as I'm seeing, he's just not. He doesn't lie, as far as I can see. So if he says that he measured as 151 feet, I'm prepared to accept that he's gained my confidence in that regard, and I'm prepared to say, okay, if you say that, that's what I'm going to believe.
Oh, really? So you do trust him? You're
So
not
good.
really skeptical. You don't really
said
check
that.
it. You
Oh
just
no,
accept
no,
it?
no,
Much of what
oh,
Rumpus takes is
oh.
based on faith and belief. That's okay. You
Well,
know, why
I'm not
change the
going
habit
to
of a
say
lifetime?
Look at the tape
I'm
measure.
also confident because it also agrees with everything that I've measured visually from the photographs. I
Can you
see,
measure
for
your
example,
confidence
I came to
scientifically?
conclusions of the same
Then you're
height.
still going on faith.
scientific?
You're
Is
still
it
going on faith.
measuring
You're not
Rumpus's
actually
confidence in
skeptical.
something?
You don't actually check it.
Well, I have
Yeah.
You
checked it.
just said that
I
you
have
did.
checked it.
I
I've
can
checked
I
it.
can I can measure Rumpus's confidence mathematically and show that that proves whatever is being asserted, because if you can measure it mathematically, then it definitely proves stuff. So I'm going to say that I'm going to present a mathematical measurement for Rumpus's confidence, and that's definitely going to prove anything that he asserts, because, you know, confidence is measurable, it's tangible, it's something that you can get mathematically to prove anything you like.
By himself, I might have been more sceptical, but it wasn't. We've got 5 different ways of measuring that, Cliff, and they all agree. So
confidence level high, I would put that into the calculator as a level 7 on the confidence scale. So that's pretty much proof. I mean, solid proof there. Very confident, Rumpus. Good to know.
5 independent ways of measuring the height of that cliff. They all agree.
No, 7 on the confidence scale, mathematically speaking. So mathematically speaking, you know, we've got at least a 99% chance of this being 100% accurate. You know, mathematically speaking, of course. That proves it. You know, that's what maths does. It proves it implicitly. So if you're confident and I can measure that confidence mathematically, then we've got cast iron proof here, my friend. You know, basically Alk is correct, because we can measure mathematically your confidence level on this subject. So that's good to know.
I've been 100% right in all of my claims.
100%.
Rank has been 100%
No,
wrong.
you can't give it as 100%. You're pushing the limits here, Rumpus, mathematically
I've
speaking,
been
aren't
100%
you?
on
Really?
all the claims
Come on,
I've
I said
made.
99.
No,
let's not split hairs.
Wrong about the identity of that
99%
farm,
is not the same as 100%. Come on, let's not be silly.
I was actually wrong on the identity of the farm that I made for about 30 seconds. I got
Oh, so you're not 100%.
No, you're right. Actually,
No, I was
that
right.
wasn't
It's
clear.
99% correct based on the extrapolations of certainty, based on the assumptions that Rumpus makes. You know, these things can all be quantified and figured out mathematically, and they basically
You're
prove
gibbering,
anything.
Nathan.
No,
Pardon?
you're the one that's gibbering.
Whereas Ranty's got a 100% record of being wrong on every single thing that he's done.
100%.
It's quite amazing.
Oh, well, considering you said that you were 100%, I mean, we can't really take these as anything other than speculation, really. I mean, 66% of statistics are made up on the spot.
Well, this isn't the statistic. This is a fact.
This isn't the statistic.
Yeah, I mean, I've been 100% wrong in all my claims about the Isle of Man.
That's good to know. You've been 100% wrong in all your claims you've made about the Isle of Man. I'll take that little soundbite. That's wonderful to know. We know you're 100% wrong because you have a presuppositional argument, Rumpus, that assumes that we have a curve and assumes that light bends around it. And that presuppositional argument is why you're 100% incorrect about all of what you've asserted about the Isle of Man. We already know this. This has been demonstrated. So it's okay. I mean, you can tell us again, if you like, that you're 100% wrong in everything you've asserted about the Isle of Man, because it's comical. You know, it's amusing to the audience. But, you know, it's fine. It doesn't matter. We accept and understand that you have a presuppositional argument that accounts for flat Earth photography by presupposing a curve and presupposing light bends around it with absolutely no scientific proof of the curve. You know, I had to ask you 43 times for it and you didn't present anything. We just got a few YouTubers, maybe NASA. You know, all stuff that's not verifiable by anybody on the panel. You know, we had the conflation of the word we as well. You know, we had all these tricks used. But basically, we don't get to verify this stuff that you assert as proof. All these just so stories about NASA and their dramatic failings that almost didn't let them achieve what they were hoping to achieve. It's all nonsense. It's just so stories. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't prove anything. It's just your acceptance of it, which I find the most amusing. The fact that you can tolerate in your own cognition this nonsense.
You don't fancy 25 quid's worth of finding out?
25 quid's worth of going to St. Bees. That's what you will now assert, right? Let's see how predictable I am. 25 quid and I can re-enter Theodolite and prove and validate what NASA presents in terms of photography from space. We went through all this yesterday. Check out yesterday's debate if you want to see Rumpus's toes held to the fire with absolutely sod all scientific proof of anything. Fun though it was.
FE Cult, somebody, whatever he was called, FE Cult came in and sniped him.
Snipe the Rumpus?
Yeah, FE cult.
Why did they do it when we're holding his toes to the fire about his fairy tale stories that he believes in? I was enjoying that.
He was digging his own ditch constantly.
Yeah.
It's like, first, oh, no, I'm 100% correct. Oh, wait, no, I'm not 100% correct. Then, yeah, I am 100% correct. I'm skeptical. Oh, wait, I believe in these people. And then I don't actually test it. He's just constantly contradicting himself. And he smears this up with just constantly, non-stop, quick, rambling techno babble, sounding really smart. He could be like the new
Hello,
brilliant
Lewis. Good to
character
have you.
in Star Trek.
My bad.
Did you snipe him? Sorry, Lewis. Feel free to rejoin. We've been bombarded. I haven't had the icons on the bottom of the screen, but you would see if it was that we've been bombarded since Rumpus joined. So we're really sorry, Lewis. Feel free to rejoin.
But I still I like the point about that picture taken from Pluto, and I pretty much stand my ground that if you're gonna have a camera of any type and you're gonna be in motion taking a picture of something that does not perfectly move parallel with the camera, then it's gonna be blurred somehow because it's gonna not be a still thing that's going to be taken a picture of. So you cannot ever have a sharp picture in any way.
I kind of agree. I mean,
That's physically impossible. Even if it would like rotate along with that so-called planet perfectly, then still it would be rotating slightly around it as the picture was taken. There's going to be blur. There's not going to be a perfectly sharp picture. That's physically impossible. Optics don't work that way. Cannot be made to work that way. The picture can only be perfectly sharp if it is not in motion in relation to the object being taken a picture of. It's physically impossible.
Arwen, you know, what speed was this satellite traveling at that took this
incredible speeds?
Like what, 50,000 miles an hour or something?
Hey, Fadumbi, I think that's P.
Wanting to be sucked.
Hey, P Mars, how you doing? Good to have you. You gonna say hello?
What?
Hello. Third time's a charm, maybe?
Hello.
How you doing? Good to have you.
Hello.
Hey, so I've got just one argument for you today. The sun, we can across the sky in 1 hour, every day.
So we've got approximately 30 minutes left on this live stream. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box once the video has rendered. So be sure to check out this if you're watching live on Nathan Oakley 1980 once it's been re-uploaded. Hopefully I will go back to streaming on that particular channel in the next few weeks. If you'd like to join the channel, be sure to mute the page you're currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, of course, but that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. As I say, there is approximately 30 minutes left on this live stream.
All right. Because observations prove that it does not basically move away as objects as it approaches the horizon or as it comes up from the horizon, because then that path at the last part would be slower. And it doesn't do that.
Hey P, how you doing? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
They're trying to porn bomb you.
P Mars? Nah, I don't think
That's
so.
twice. No, that if you listen back, that's twice where it says, "Do you want my cock sucking?"
I see. All right, that's lovely. Thanks, P. I can see what's P's obviously got that on his mind at the moment.
So how do you explain the 15-degree observation of the sun for every observer on the planet every day.
15 degree. I'm having a little bit trouble. What do you exactly mean with the 15-degree observation?
I mean, every single hour throughout the day, the sun moves 15 degrees in the sky, no matter where you are on the Earth.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, the sun seems to move over the globe of the heavens in relation to the observer at a constant speed, following its path, and it does it every day. So I think that it would move 180 degrees over the course of 24 hours.
Great. So what explanation, how do you picture the Earth and the sun in relation to one another to account for this observation?
Well, there does seem to be a relation as to what exact path the sun is taking uh, with the position of the Earth. That is the relation that can actually be proven.
What
As
what
you
is
approach the
that?
equator, then the path becomes wider, becomes higher up. The arc goes more towards over your head.
Right, but all the same,
That's the
moving
relation.
no, the relation is 15 degrees per hour. It is also the case that the further north or south you are, the location of the sun in the sky changes, but it's still encompassing the same amount of sky, the same degrees total, and it's doing it at the same rate.
Yeah.
So what is your explanation for that?
Well, that the sun is moving at a pretty much constant uh, apparent speed over the arc.
And why does it do that? Where is the sun? Where is the Earth in relation to the sun? What shape would the Earth have to be in order for this observation to occur?
That's the funny thing about it. It has no relation to the shape of the Earth, in my personal view.
Right. And so what is your personal view?
My personal view is that the globe of the heavens is completely unrelated to the
You,
shape of the Earth. Rather, it points at that the angle of the heavenly body apparent disks, the objects that we get to see, uh, correlate in their position
Sleeping warrior.
Hey,
relating
Sleeping
to the
Warrior, can you
position
hear us? Is
on
that
the
you?
Earth you are, but it doesn't actually correlate to the shape of the Earth at all
so
because
I'm
they're
asking,
detached. They're not.
I'm at,
They're separate.
so
Because
what
the
is
Earth is
the,
physical, and the sun and the moon and all those heavenly bodies are not.
and what would that mean? So what? It doesn't
Well, what that
matter. It
would
doesn't
mean
matter
is
what
that
the
the
sun
heavenly
is.
bodies, all we get to see up there, does not prove anything about the shape of the Earth at all.
Why
can,
not?
I can
I
answer.
mean,
It just
'cause
does.
there are
I can
look,
answer your question.
okay, well that's fine. That's fine, Anthony. I will accept your answer. And Arwen's basically said that it's his personal opinion that they're not related. I think everyone can make up their own minds on that.
So, Nathan, can you present?
Yeah, sure. You presented.
So, we know that refraction is a thing. You guys say it bends around a curve. We say it just distorts what we see. We know that the atmosphere acts as a lens. Rob Skiba showed that when he did his lake experiments, things seem to look bigger in the distance than what you would expect. He called it atmospheric lensing. May not be an accurate scientific term, but we know that it does things. With regards to the stars and your position as you go down the curve towards the equator, this is an illustration of showing what the stars are actually doing. So with regards to the apparent position and the actual position, we know that refraction has an effect. What the effect is debatable.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
We know exactly what the effects are.
Yeah, we see it. And Mick West acknowledges it on his website. I'm sure
we know exactly what the effects are. We also know what they're not. So the sun moving 15 degrees across the sky every day for every observer
on the left
that's not something that refraction can account for.
Yeah, refraction can do an awful lot of things according to your model. None of which
it cannot do what I just said. Regardless,
I'm showing you that it can.
Regardless of what it can do, it cannot make the sun appear to move 15 degrees per hour across the sky for every observer when in fact that isn't happening.
So
And
what
if you
stops
think
us?
it can, then you need to explain why.
Well, refraction explains it perfectly. If you can bring stuff back from behind the curve, we can make refraction do anything that we want it to do as well. Can you prove that it's not doing what we say it is? These are the actual position of the sun.
Wait. You think that we're just making up
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
refraction does?
Yeah, 7-6R. You totally made it up. It's
Yeah, it's
nonsense.
presuppositional
No,
argument.
you don't need to mention math to understand refraction.
Right. So what I'm saying to you is the sun's apparent position isn't the same as its actual position because of refraction. So when you're saying that you can go, or even the stars. So
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Anthony.
Oh, yes, it
all
does.
you need to know.
If you base your maths on the
You
right-hand
don't
side,
need maths, dude. You don't need maths.
Oh,
you were
really?
You were the one that said it should go south.
All you need is the sun moving 15 degrees every hour. That's it. That's all you need.
That's right. But what does it do when it gets towards the horizon, dude? Is it its actual position or is it its perceived position?
So what about getting close to the horizon? It's still moving 15 degrees.
Yeah, but if it's not the real actual sun and it's a perceived sun, then it changes the math massively.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter because your perception is based on the real world.
But is the thing that you're measuring based on real world, or is it an apparent because of refraction?
Yes, it's the sun. It doesn't magically change.
So
it doesn't magically turn into a simulation at dusk. What are you talking about?
Visuals do actually distort because of
refraction.
Optics,
does
so
have that effect on it in both models. That's what he's trying to get you to concede, but you don't seem to be understanding it, Lou.
It has nothing to do with what I said.
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
disagreeing.
It does. That's his point. Yes, it does.
Nathan,
that's his point.
I'm not disagreeing that refraction occurs.
Excellent.
My point is that it has nothing to do with the sun moving 15 degrees every hour in the sky.
Yeah,
nothing.
But 15 degrees when it's like when you see it rising and it's close to the horizon, is that rate the same? Because you say it is. Well, how do you know you're looking at the actual sun?
You can measure it. You can measure it, and it is.
Do we agree that the only time that we see the sun with the minimalist amount of refraction is at high noon? The rest of the time it's subject to more refraction, correct?
Yeah, measurable amounts, and it still moves regardless. Anthony.
Right, so it's an apparent position.
It still moves at 15 degrees every hour.
Apparent position.
All right. Yeah. So do we all agree that a day is 24 hours?
Hang on, answer me this. How long does it take for the light from the sun to get to Earth?
Answer me this. How long is a day?
23 hours, 56 minutes, 18 seconds.
All right, and what is 360 divided by 1 day? How many degrees every hour is that?
What's your point?
My point is that the sun moves 15 degrees every hour, and a circle
but it's
360 degrees.
That maths is based on the perception of the actual sun's position, and we know that refraction changes things.
Right. And so my whole point is to contrast what you would expect to see on a spinning ball Earth with a distant, massive sun.
Right. Well, let me give you a better illustration.
And contrast. I'm saying what you would expect to see with that.
All right.
In contrast, Anthony, with what the flat Earth model predicts, which
let's go with the flat Earth model.
It's with a close sun. It's with a close sun.
Lou, you seem to have verbal diarrhea. He understands your question.
No. You guys have verbal diarrhea. I haven't
finished
my point fully this entire time.
That's mine now. Come on.
I haven't finished my point fully this entire time.
But
because you guys keep talking.
I have answered your question. I'd like to respond with one of my own.
You actually didn't answer the question.
I did. I said, is the sun apparent or is it perceived?
That is your question, not an answer to mine.
Yeah, okay. The answer to your question is, are you observing and measuring an actual sun or is it a perceived?
That is also a question, Anthony.
Right. All right. The answer to your question, Lewis, is you don't know that you're seeing the actual sun because of refraction.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Really?
It does.
So why does refraction matter so much when it suits
you? It doesn't matter. Like you look up in the sky. Do you see that light? Yes, I do. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so why does refraction not matter when it suits, but it does matter when it suits?
Because it suits.
Okay.
You answered that in your own question.
Right, because it suits. Yeah, doesn't make it true though, does it?
The question is, how do you judge when it is suitable? The question then becomes, when is it suitable to use refraction to explain various observations?
I do have a
I
question.
I would say that your judgment is quite lacking in that regard.
That's okay. I would say a lot of things are lacking, but let's talk.
I know you would,
model.
but that's because
Let's
you
talk
don't
about your
understand
model.
them. But
How long
let's
does it take
talk
for
about the
light?
flat Earth model. Let's talk
Lewis,
about
no,
the
no, no,
flat
no,
Earth
hold
model.
on. You asked a question.
No. You hang on. Hang on. I haven't
My turn
finished.
to ask a question.
I have not
I was in the
finished my
shower.
entire point. All right. Initially, I'm making a comparison between what you would expect with a ball spinning in relation to a distant light source. So the size of the Earth is insignificant to the distance it is from the sun. So if you have a ball rotating once every 24 hours, the relation of that light source to any point on that ball's surface is approximately 15 degrees. On the flat Earth with a close local sun, you know, spinning around in a circle above the surface, the only place that is going to experience 15 degrees of change in relation to that light source is the North Pole, because it's in the center of that circle. And that circle, no matter if you're thinking about this on a ball or a disk Earth, is 24 hours for one circuit. And the only place where it's going to change 15 degrees in 24 hours is the North Pole. Every single other place on a flat Earth model is going to have drastically different radial changes of the sun.
It is not the flat Earth model. It is a flat Earth model. It's the circle-centric flat Earth model.
I understand that, Arwen. You already told me your personal opinion.
It's not just
Thank
my
you.
personal opinion.
Right.
There are other people also that have worked out another
that's
alternative
great.
model,
That's
like
great.
free energy. He actually made
Like free
very,
energy.
very elaborate CGI models of how the rectangular looping Earth may work. It's very elaborate, very detailed.
Oh, wow. I guess we should probably be coming up with free energy generators pretty soon then, huh?
It's his channel name, Free Energy with an A, not an E. Yeah,
sounds like
it's
a really
an actual
reliable
channel. It's been
guy.
out there for over 3 years. Look
Free
it up
energy
sometime.
sounds like
Look
a
it up
brilliant
sometime,
guy.
Lewis.
I have. I've looked
The
up free energy.
circle-centric
I've
flat
looked up
Earth
free
model
energy.
is not the flat Earth model. It is
It's
a
the one
flat Earth model.
I understand that,
It's
Arwen,
a
but it
flawed
is the one,
flat Earth
it
model
is
that
the
I
one that I
disagree
just,
with.
Yeah, it's flawed for the reasons that I just brought up. I understand that you don't agree.
But it's
You
just as
voiced
flawed
that.
as your model, which doesn't make any damn sense.
No, my model makes perfect sense.
No, it
Lewis,
makes
can I ask
perfect
my
sense in
question?
your mind because you believe it
Well,
like nothing
now,
else out there.
now that I've fully put forward my disc versus ball comparison, Anthony, perhaps you'd care to address that in some sort of fashion, maybe similar to Arwen in saying that, oh, well, that's just not my disc model.
Is this the part where I can ask my question, or was it a question to answer?
No, the part where I answer your question comes after you respond to what I've said.
Right. So this is the second question. Well, I didn't catch the second question. You made a really long, convoluted explanation, something saying that it matches your model. But what is the question?
Right. So on a disk Earth, right, we all agree that the sun takes 24 hours to make its circuit, regardless of whether that
Hey,
circuit
Arif,
is a
that you? Hold on a second. Sorry, Lewis. Really sorry.
Yeah,
Cool. Hey, Arif.
Hello.
That you?
Fun.
Sorry, continue.
Great.
Sorry,
It is a
Lewis.
real R-rate.
So regardless of which model you accept, we all agree that the sun takes 24 hours to make its circuit, whatever that circuit might actually be. That's something we agree upon.
Okay.
So 24 hours is the approximate time that circuit takes. 360 degrees are how many degrees are in a circle. So 360 divided by 24 is 15. The only place where you're at the center of that circuit on the flat Earth disk model isn't the North Pole. Every other place is going to experience drastically different degree changes if you're looking at the flat Earth model, whereas the globe does not have that issue because it's distant from the sun and it is the thing rotating.
And that's why the circle-centric flat Earth model is incorrect.
I know. Thank you, Arwen. We agree on that.
I think that you're missing part of the alternative model, which would be the ecliptic path of the sun on the flat Earth plane. Are you familiar with the ecliptic path of the sun on the flat Earth plane?
The ecliptic path. The ecliptic path
on the flat Earth plane. You're not familiar.
Is that where the moon goes in front of the sun and causes an eclipse? Because I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, please make me familiar. Make me familiar, please.
Right, so your perception is that the sun goes around the North Pole in circles, correct?
Yes, that is my perception of the flat Earth model. Yeah, that's the one that's been put forward most often by most people, like
Sure.
Mark Sargent, like ODD TV, like Patricia Steer, like Antonio Subarats, like Pancho Pete, like all of these people, except you, apparently. But okay, go on.
Okay, so there's something called the ecliptic path of the sun on the flat Earth model, and you're obviously, by self-admission, not familiar with what I'm describing. I'd suggest you look at the channel called AJC 1844. Look at Flat Earth Smarts episode number 12, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Maybe you could pull it up for me. This is the platform after all.
It's a 27-minute video, but essentially the point is this. The path of the sun that you describe isn't the path of the sun on the flat Earth model because it doesn't match the observations. There is an explanation for it. It's in the video. I will send you a link for it, but essentially draw a circle around the center of the flat, around the center of the North Pole. But on that circle, instead of putting the sun's path, draw a spirograph of circles going all the way around. And that's the movement of the sun on the ecliptic plane on the flat Earth model. That's the explanation and the answer to your question. There is no 15 degrees problem. Now, if it's a position
that causes even more problems than it would solve.
No,
That doesn't solve anything. Okay,
No.
what
the observation?
You have to explain. You have to explain how the sun moves 15 degrees every hour for everybody on the planet, no matter where they are.
The Arctic Circle. The Arctic Circle.
Yes, the Arctic Circle.
The path of the sun on the flat Earth model to represent real world travels along that path, and that's why it creates everything's a circle, but the movement of the sun itself moves around the Arctic Circle, and that's essentially going to give you the same results.
So should the sun appear in the north for everybody? Because that's what I would expect if the sun's moving around the Arctic Circle, is that for everybody the sun would be in the north.
Okay, I will give you a video link and a time in the video link for you to consider, and then maybe perhaps come back to me with it, and then you will see the explanation for it matches the observations in real world. There is no problem with the 15 degrees. You think there is, but there isn't.
These are really simple thought experiments, Anthony.
Yeah, well, I've got a real simple thought experiment in response to you, and I'd like an answer, but I'm not getting a chance to answer it. So can I ask you a question? Yes or no?
Yeah, let's get at it. Let's get at it, bro.
How long does it take for the light from the sun to get to the Earth?
Approximately 8 minutes, according to the distance of the sun and the calculations of the speed of light.
Excellent. Hang on. Is that me?
Yeah. If you could turn that music off, that would be awesome. Hey, Nathan Oakley. Nathan Oakley, owner of the show. Maybe if
Perhaps it's time for a change of pace. We've taken some time to look at the various maps of the world, and the layout that some of us think might be credible is the circular layout. It's generically referred to as an azimuthal equidistant projection, and while it still has some questions, it seems to be the best that we can find for the moment. For some reason, this map really does seem to annoy some people, and while I'm inclined to think that it serves some purpose, I also think it might be keeping us from making further progress. Most of us can find our way around this map. The landmasses that it shows certainly seem to exist, but in the absence of further evidence that can accurately place them in relation to each other, perhaps we should let them sink into the oceans for now and look a little further afield. I'll leave Antarctica there for the time being, so that none of us go falling off the edge. There may
Good stuff.
The explanation, Nathan's at 21 minutes.
21 minutes.
Cool.
21.
Back to that.
the constellation of Gemini. And from the ground, you'll see that it crosses your eastern horizon at about 4 AM. The sky rotates around Polaris, and the sun crosses the sky to the western horizon, arriving there about 8 PM. We are now at the height of summer north of the equator, and the path across the sky is over the Tropic of Cancer, the summer solstice. By the middle of September, the Sun has progressed even further around the ecliptic and is now entering the constellation Virgo, where it will cross the eastern horizon at about 6 a.m. and crosses the sky to the western horizon at about 6 p.m. By the end of the year, the Sun is back where it started, heading into the constellation of Sagittarius, with sunrise at 8 a.m. and passing through the sky above the Tropic of Capricorn. It provides summer again south of the equator. So let's recap the story so far. North of the equator from the middle of winter, the Sun crosses your eastern horizon and takes this path through the sky above the Tropic of Capricorn to your western horizon. In the spring, it crosses your eastern horizon and takes this path through the sky above the equator and sets in the west. By the summer, north of the equator, the Sun crosses your eastern horizon to pass over the Tropic of Cancer during the day, before setting at the western horizon. It then continues to head away from Polaris through the autumn equinox, and finally by the middle of the northern winter, it's back where it started and rises above the Tropic of Capricorn, 1 year from where we began. It seems like a fairly credible reason for the change of seasons during the year, so I'd like to add 1 or 2 extras to this for people to think on until next time. There's no need here for me to complicate things any further than to show where the Sun is at the equinoxes and solstices. I'm sure you're now able to work out where the Sun is as it passes from one to the next as the year progresses, so I'd like to take one more look behind the scenes before I close. One subject of much argument among flat earthers is the notion that the Sun needs to somehow speed up over the Tropic of Capricorn. I would suggest that there's no need for it to do so. The Sun travels around the ecliptic at a steady speed of about 1 degree, about 70 miles per day. Additionally, the whole sky rotates once in 23 hours, 56 minutes and 4 seconds. The fact that the Sun appears to cover a longer path over the Tropic of Capricorn is nothing more than a consequence of us measuring its path by ground speed. Its speed in the sky looks pretty constant from here. So, in closing, I appreciate that for most of us this subject is still fairly new and takes a slightly different approach to a problem with which we've wrestled for some time. As such, it's probably a good place to finish for the moment and provide people with some time to digest these things before we move on to take a closer look at the Moon.
You just see loads of bickering going on in the hangout. Wow.
Yeah, Nathan, I know when you're completely wrong about the perception of reality that you have, and other people are too. It's amazing what kind of bickering.
No, you don't have to get all snide about it.
Lewis, can I just say it specifically addressed the 15 degrees that you were requesting us to explain?
No, it didn't, Riley. It addressed the 15 degree in relation to the heavens. In relation to the heavens.
All right,
not in relation to the actual Earth observations.
Or are you talking from a position of ignorance? Because if you haven't watched it, you don't know what you're talking about.
No, I did. I just did. I looked at it, and it didn't explain the observations from where the Sun is coming from.
Disagreeing about the sky.
Right. It explains specifically the 15 degrees point that Lewis was asking. If you haven't watched it, Arwin, you're speaking from ignorance, and you should go watch it.
No, Riley, don't talk down to me. I know what that video is
Arwin,
about.
You haven't watched it, Arwin. You speak.
I did watch it on the actual hangout, looking at it. Then we were bickering right here.
It deals specifically with the 15 degrees per hour that Lewis is addressing. If you haven't watched it, Arwin, shush.
Lewis is not addressing that.
Lewis
was trying to address the observations from the Earth.
Yes,
not from in relation of the star motions and the position of the Sun within the construct of the astrological charts, as it were. That is what this video clearly was about. It wasn't about the position of the visible Sun on the Earth. It didn't explain that at all.
All right. So, can I ask my question now, please, or not?
Yes, I can't wait.
9 minutes was the time it takes for the sunlight to get to the Earth.
Eight.
Yeah, that's fine. Why is it that when the sun sets, we do not see a tidal wave of shadow from the north to the south traversing towards the sun 9 minutes later? Why do we actually see a sun dilating over the horizon, very small, and it's very local to the area we're in? The absence of the tidal wave or shadow means that there is no terminator line. That means the Earth cannot be spherical, and it means that we are not spinning.
Well, you wouldn't see that, like, because you
Of
only
course you
see
would.
you only see light when it hits your eyes. So if that ever happens, so like, for example, if the sun just turned off in midday, we wouldn't know for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
The sun would stop making light, and
On the
8
preview
minutes
right now,
later,
Lewis,
8 minutes later, everything would be pitch black, and we would see the Milky Way and all the other stars up in the heavens. But
on the preview right now,
we wouldn't see a tidal wave of darkness approaching.
that's exactly what we should see on your model. If we're spherical, and we are.
That has nothing. By the way, that has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. That has to do
It has
with
everything to
light
do
and
with
how
the
we
the
see.
axial rotation.
That
Lewis,
has
we should
to
see a
do with
north-south shadow.
light. That has to
No.
do with light, Anthony. That
It
has
has to do
nothing
with
to do with the shape of the Earth.
It has everything to do with the axial rotation and the curvature of the Earth that you claim that we live on. We should see a tidal wave of shadow passing north to south in the direction of north to south, heading towards the horizon.
North
We should
to
be in a
south.
tidal
That is
wave.
correct.
That would be the terminator line, and
I
we
mean,
do not see that.
I can speak for myself. I notice the sun shining up on the clouds every night.
Yeah,
during
but you
sunset.
don't see the sun
I mean,
in the heavens.
There's a
You would
tidal wave of shift in the
Right, he's
angle of
correct.
light on the ground, and that change in angle on the ground, I think, is indicative of a spherical spinning Earth. But it's not like I'm just.
You would see if the
I
Earth
guess
was actually
the answer to
curved,
your
the sun would
question,
go around it, you
Arwen.
would
To be
see a
fair,
giant block of shadow moving up from the bottom, and you
Arwen,
would
he
still
asked me-
see the clouds
Yes.
up there lit up perfectly, and you would see a block of shadow moving upwards, because that is what actual shadow does.
Yeah, I know.
So,
And I
despite the
would argue
globe
that
of
you
the
do.
heavens
I
and the
would
sun
argue that
being
you
part
do.
of that,
you do
going
you do
around
see it.
in a circular motion and with the 15 degrees an hour, which you are correct at, it's not actually a physical object moving behind a curvature, because shadow workings disprove that.
Okay, so let me just finish off. I want to just say two things. Lewis asked specifically about the 15 degrees. I gave him a video citation that Arwen's not seen but argued with. My challenge to both Arwen and Lewis is to go and watch the video and come back and tell me why it's wrong. And my second point is, if we lived on a sun, an Earth that had a sun 93 million miles away, when that sun sets, we should see a tidal wave of shadow from the north to the south heading in the direction of the sunset, and it should be a tidal wave of shade. That would
Yes.
be our terminator line. That's what we should see in real world. Do we see
Indeed.
that? Of course we don't.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.